Hi everyone, thanks for joining us and welcome to Screaming on the Inside, a UCAT podcast. I'm Lucia, your host for today and a member of the alumni team here at UCAT. Our guest today is Banbury Lodge lead therapist Dimitra Theofili. Dimitra specialises in group therapy, eating disorders, couples therapy, crisis intervention, anger management and individual counselling. Dimitra is also very active within the alumni community and has been a speaker at our events. Today we will be discussing young persons in recovery and eating disorder treatment. Thanks for listening. Hi guys, thank you for joining us. I'm here with lead therapist Dimitra Theofili from Banbury Lodge, who's going to be joining us today. We're going to be talking about young persons and eating disorders and just covering, some topics regarding that and what struggles and what advice that we could give you guys as well for anyone out there that needs to get any advice regarding that. So yeah, hi Dimitra. Thank you for joining us today. Do you want to give the guys a little introduction and just who you are and what your role is at Banbury?
Of course. I'm the lead therapist at Banbury Lodge. I'm specialized in addiction, eating disorders, and DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy and systemic therapy. I'm working in the addiction field too many years, probably around 17. I'm struggling to count sometimes. Yeah. I do enjoy that role a lot. I'm working at Banbury Lodge the last 7 years, and it's going to be an incredible experience for me. It's really rewarding to see people's journeys, people getting in recovery. It's really rewarding for me.
Oh, bless you. Yeah. And you're very involved as well in the alumni. So that's great. We always see you at events and, doing talks and different things. So that's great as well that you're so involved. How do you find the alumni side of things?
I find it amazing, really, not only for the clients. If I'm going to be selfish for a minute, it's really good for me as well to be able to meet ex-clients, to see how well they're doing, how healthy they look like, and also, it is an opportunity to learn more things, to listen, more workshops, to learn from other people. It is an incredible experience, and it is really a big part of support that our clients are receiving after treatment.
Definitely. It's great that they have that because, coming out of treatment, it can be very daunting. It can be very overwhelming. So just to know that there's that, support and that connection between alumni and the centre as well, it's really important for the guys to know that they can reach out to us whenever, even if they want to let us know how well they're doing. We've heard so many success stories as well, which is amazing. So over the 17 years that you've been, roughly, give or take, and have you noticed any significant changes in the way that addiction affects the youth and people struggling with eating disorders?
Yeah, I think that because at Banbury Lodge, we do treat people under 18 as well.
Yeah.
I think that the risk is higher. We need to remember that they are in a critical stage of the brain development. Is changing psychologically, emotionally, socially, everything is changing for them.
Yeah.
At times, they are not getting enough support. I think it has to do a lot about how they learn to deal with day-to-day life. Obviously, we now have Instagram, we have other things we used to have, and there is a lot of competition. Drugs are, they're very easily available. They're accessible everywhere, especially in schools, in the university. So it's a thing that is more difficult for them compared to our generation.
Yeah.
We don't have the same age, but anyway, my generation, let me correct that. But we have that, it wasn't so accessible on my days.
Yeah, and I think as well, with the phones as well, it's a lot of, there's so many, especially body image, there's so many filters, there's so, unrealistic ways of looking at your body now that aren't actually how people look, and comparing yourself, especially at a young age, like you said, you've already got the hormones, you've got pressure, you don't really know who you are at the moment, you're still learning about yourself and developing. So that added pressure as well. Do you think that having an impact on young people?
Yeah, Of course, and the problem with internet those days is that everyone can write whatever they want. So there's a lot of information that is not correct, it's not valid. There are a lot of apps about losing weight, about maintain your weight, about influencers that tell you what to eat. Like for example, you need to avoid carbs, which is not healthy. So young people are quite vulnerable to that information coming to them.
Conflicting information and, you know, giving dangerous advice, like you said. And so it is confusing. It's a lot of pressure on people to body image and not really knowing, you know, they might not know about diet and what's good for them. That might not be taught at school or something. So, you know, it can be quite dangerous to have this misinformation there.
Of course. And something that for me, it was a very bad moment in therapy of eating disorders, and on how we approach that as, you know, as a country as well. It's the fact that there was a decision a couple of years ago to write the calories on every meal. Everyone now that is going out, they can see how many calories the food has, and it's very risky for young people. I don't think that they will choose the right choice always. For example, a chocolate bar, a small chocolate bar might have, 100 calories, while a smoked salmon or cream cheese sandwich will have 400, but it's a much healthier option. So there's lack of information there.
Like empty calories. Not any nutrition in the food, looking just at the intake to say a certain weight, or, you know, have that intake every day.
And we're ending up with people being really scared about calories. What calories is what is keeping us alive, what is giving us energy. And, you know, we have young people that are terrified of calories, which they shouldn't, but that's what's happened with media and with Instagram, with apps. It is a massive problem.
Demonizing food a bit, isn't it? You know, it's I won't have that because it's higher calories, but like you said, it's better for you, and, you know, better nutrition, and your body needs it. What kind of triggers would you say, through your experience, what triggers are most common for young people to navigate?
I think from my experience it's more about social anxiety. It's about boredom is a big thing for addicts. Bullying at school, comments about the body and weight, the need to fit in. Many people, you know, with drugs and alcohol, a lot of people are using at early age, and there will be vulnerable people. They want to fit in with that group of people, you know, the popular group. It can be quite put their life at risk.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it? And if you're getting bullied as well, you know, that does have a real impact on people. You know, words really do stick with you, and it's hard to overcome that, you know, and you struggle to love yourself and, you know, who you are as a person.
I was in a conference recently, and I had something really interesting. It was about addiction, and it was saying, I'm trying to remember the words, that a child that hasn't received love from the parents, they don't hate the parents, they hate themselves. And then addiction is becoming self-medication, as a way to treat that trauma, that emotional neglect, probably grief, loss as well. There's so many triggers there, which is very different for each person. But I think, you know, trauma or mental health conditions are quite common.
Regarding eating disorders, what triggers, through your experience, would you say are tricky for people to navigate? Because would you say as well that it's similar to what you just said, you know, regarding bullying and body image and how you see yourself and how you love yourself?
I think that they're quite similar. However, you know, you can even trigger a relapse on eating disorder by negative comment, by commenting on somebody's weight, by checking what they're eating, by asking them to eat more or eat less. You know, there are some periods of the year that are quite triggering as well, like Christmas and Easter, when food is really everywhere. It is a massive trigger. People do struggle, you know, those periods of the year.
I imagine Christmas especially is really hard because there's just ridiculous amounts of food everywhere. You can't escape it. What would what advice would you give people to best navigate those tricky seasons and, you know, being around so much food all the time.
Yeah, I think that they need to surround themselves with people that they do know about their addiction. People that can support them. I wish that they won't put themselves in a risky situation and they will be able to set some boundaries. I'm asking my clients, for example, if you don't go to a big Christmas meal, just don't go. You don't have to do something just because your family expects you to do it. So this is really important, be able to set personal boundaries and boundaries with their families, because as you said, there will be food everywhere, huge amounts of food.
Yeah.
It is quite, I remember last year when I was actually coming to work, on the radio people were talking, people that can affect other people, that, I will eat so much tonight, I will fast, I will get drunk, I will eat, everything. It's not a good example. So I think that my advice would be for them to avoid any trigger that they're aware of.
Yeah.
They can always arrange a session with a therapist, obviously contact alumni as well. There is help there. Just do the step.
So, plan ahead, be aware of your triggers, don't put yourself in any kind of vulnerable situations or feel like you can't say no, because your recovery comes first.
Exactly.
Healthy boundaries, and just like you said, surround yourself with people that understand and support you, that won't add that pressure, and just stay connected to the support that's available, like alumni and the groups as well.
And recovery is the most important thing, especially in early recovery, and there are meetings available. I mean, they're always meeting on Christmas Day, for example.
Always.
That can always access meetings. It's so important. And of course, alumni, they're doing a great job. I mean, they can just give you a call. They can, they can give us a call.
Of course, that's what we're here for, guys. So don't hesitate. Even if you just need a bit of reassurance, just give us a call. On that note, Dimitra, talking about being around family at Christmas, what support could the family and friends give to that person? What can they do to help them?
I think that they need to remember the fact that recovery is the most important thing. Sometimes families will forget it because Christmas is a big thing in the UK, and it's an opportunity for the families to come together. But sometimes the family is the trigger as well. So they need to remember that and give the sufferer time to the space to decide if they want to attend the Christmas meal or if they will need to go in a meeting instead. And I guess that is really important for the families to educate themselves about addiction, about eating disorder, about triggers. It's really important to learn as much as they can. Yoga does offer family groups as well for the families to take some support and also educate themselves about addiction and eating disorder.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's really important, I think, as well, for the families to get that understanding and that support as well for themselves, because it can be a family illness.
Of course.
And it's important as well for the family to get that support and education as well for themselves and for the family. What would you say, Dimitra? How would you know the difference between an unhealthy relationship with food and a disorder? Is there a difference?
It is quite common. So I think there is a confusion in general about what healthy food is. So healthy food is when we're eating until we're full and stop when we're full. And adults, we do struggle with that. While, a 5-year-old child will know where to stop. Adults are finding more difficult to stop at times. And I guess that because, food is about pleasure as well. And sometimes it is an addiction, and it does play that role of filling a void, or it is self-medication for depression, anxiety, difficult feelings. I mean, there are a lot of criteria to identify something as an addiction or disorder. However, for me, it's about more how it is affecting your quality of life, making your life unmanageable. Is it an obsession in your mind? Is it taking all over your thought? Does it affect your relationship? It is how it is affecting your way of living, really. I think that step work is really important. Step one is something that we use for addiction of drugs and alcohol or eating disorder. So it's something that everyone can relate. Does your addictive behavior has made your life unmanageable?
Yeah.
What's happening there is really important.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say is a common trigger for a relapse?
I think that the main one is the lack of self-care. When people start neglecting their themselves or recovery, when they stop engaging in meetings, when they don't treat unresolved resentments, anger, mental health issues, when they're leaving that untreated, addiction will come back into life. Procrastination is another trigger, boredom, being involved with the wrong crowd of people. There are things that they need to be mindful of.
It's very common, with the relapses, we do hear quite a lot of similar stories about, when people come through treatment, they complete treatment, and then, they think that they're okay now and they're, they're healed, but it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing journey. Like you say, you have to do it every day. You have to keep up with the meetings, and also going back to old life and old ways and old groups of friends can sometimes, like you said, trigger that relapse. So, I think that comes down to as well healthy boundaries, kind of taking a look at what's working for you, what's making your life unhealthy and unmanageable. And if it's regarding people, then, maybe consider having a look at who your friends are, and just stay connected, isn't it, Dimitra? It's really important because when they start isolating, they start getting in their own heads a lot, don't they?
Yeah, and I think that connection is a magic word.
Yeah.
It's all about connection. Nobody can do it alone, and we don't have to do it alone. It's about connecting with people that have done it, that can offer their experience. Nobody has to do it alone.
Definitely.
And there is help there.
100%, and don't be scared to reach out, guys. Don't be afraid. It's a really brave thing to do. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah.
Do you think it's harder, Dimitra, for younger people to navigate their recovery?
I think that there is some negative thinking there. They do feel that they're too young at times, that there is more recovery in them in the future, that they don't have to do it now. Or, we are hearing a lot, I will do it after I finish university. And we don't even know if they will be alive then, because addiction doesn't care about how old are you. Addiction will take over your life. And it's really important to get help the sooner that you can. I think that many people outside, to be honest, they're using or drinking a lot. It's really difficult for young people to find that strength to seek help and say, actually, I'm not happy with that way of living. And recovery will work for me. Recovery will improve my life.
Do you think it's hard as well for younger people because, they have, groups of friends and want to socialize and, do the normal, teenage everyday things? Do you think that plays a part as well?
Of course, it's very difficult to say I will be different, especially in a school environment or in a university environment, or even, in a friend group. If everyone else is drinking, it's quite difficult for somebody to take that step. For me, it is an amazing and very powerful thing to happen. When I have a client here, 16, 17-year-old, and they're telling me, I want to do it. That doesn't work for me. I want recovery. I really want recovery. It does make me cry at times. It is a powerful thing to happen. Finding that strength. It is amazing what people can do. And
really is.
Yeah.
People, people are amazing, really.
Yeah.
What role do you think that friends and family play in their recovery? Do you think that certain things that they can do to help?
Yeah, I think that the family or the friend group can play a negative or a positive role. Depends on how solid that the part of your life is, really. I hope that families will learn more about addiction. They need to be mindful of warning signs. For example, if they see the loved one to start isolating, or being depressed, or avoiding life or work. They need to encourage them to get in touch with the fellowship, with therapists, with alumni. It's really important to encourage that connection.
Yeah.
And as well, they need to learn about addiction. Not everyone will become an addict, but many people will. So they need to remember that maybe the friend, they need to remember that addiction is a deadly condition, and they need to remember that they need to encourage the friend to stay clean and sober. There are so many activities that they can try. We have now sober holidays. We have campings arranged from the fellowship. There is so much fun there that doesn't need alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, definitely. Regarding school, do you think that this should be, something that's more taught in schools? Because I don't know how it is now, but when I was at school, it was kind of like, don't take drugs because they're bad, but they never really talked about addiction.
No.
I think that's something that, schools should talk about more and educate.
Yeah. I think that this should be part of the training. They need to teach people about addiction. They need to be honest about how deadly that can be. Addiction has a brutal face, and we know that because we are working in that field a long time now. But young people won't know that. I think that the school can play a massive role on educating people. Obviously, about eating disorders as well, there seems to be lack of information there. There are, really sensitive and good teachers that they will tell people. It's easier to say that somebody needs help when they're suffering from anorexia, but when somebody's struggling with binge eating disorder or bulimia, it's really difficult to see the warning signs and offer help.
Are there any similarities between eating disorders and other substance abuse?
Yeah, I think that is really, really similar. It is the addictive nature of their disorders. They're both playing a role of filling a void, of offering comfort, avoidance of stress. They do make life unmanageable. Both can stem from traumatic or stressful experience of the past, or untreated health conditions, learning difficulties, or ADHD, all things that do play a role. And other people will seek comfort on drugs. Other people will start starving. It is quite addictive. And we need to remember that binge eating is really addictive. Starving is very addictive. Pressing is very addictive. Everything can be addictive after a while. There are, in both of those disorders, eating disorder and addiction, there will be cravings, there will be abnormal mood swings and sugar swings, so there will be very many similarities.
Are there any differences, would you say, in the two?
I think, to be honest, that society is at this point we're not doing great, but we're doing better with offering support from drugs and alcohol. With eating disorders, there's still a lot to be done. I think that many people with eating disorders are treated from health professionals that they don't know much about eating disorder. From my experience, they do offer help, but in order to get help, you have to be really, really unwell. So I think that schools, health professionals, they did focus more on prevention.
Prevention rather than, that's the thing, like you said about the warning signs, to try and, prevent the person from getting to that really unwell stage. I think that's important as well. And do you think as well, Dimitra, like you said about society and social media, do you think that there is, there's quite more triggers these days for people to navigate? Because like we said, food's everywhere, and also you get channels like Man versus Food and eating challenges, and people with channels dedicated just to eating, and food seems to be getting bigger in size and cheap as well.
Yeah, I think I have experience, especially working with young people. They're not very fond of cooking. Not all of them, of course, it's not everyone the same.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people, and they want to focus on their career, their work, and they will neglect, cooking. I have met a lot of people here, and older people as well, that they don't even know how to cook. So we have to, take them to the grocery shop, do some educational around shopping. And I do agree with you. The portions have been bigger those days. There are a lot of ready meals that we don't know how good they are for us.
Yeah.
So there is a lot there.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think as well, the schools, with cooking and, maybe getting the kids at a young age to learn about food and things like that is important as well.
Yes, it is really important.
And, what advice, Dimitra, would you give people that are early on in their recovery?
To take it one day at a time. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's not. It's really important. You can only survive addiction and recovery if you take it day by day. You don't have to fix everything today. Just try today to do, the right things to stay in recovery. Remember that you don't neglect your self-care, don't isolate, spend time with people, connect with people, ask for help when you need. If you're struggling with your mental health, take some support there as well.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to pick up the phone. It's really important. There are people there that they have been there and they will support you. So just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Call alumni, call us.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, Dimitra. And I think as well what you said about getting help as well for mental health sometimes can be important, really for some people, because they are going to AA or different groups and stuff, but they're also struggling with mental health as well. So do you think it's important for some people to do the both?
Yeah, I think that this is what made in the past some people to relapse. They're trying to choose therapy or the fellowship. And for me, it's really important to do both, really. The fellowship does not replace therapy, and therapy does not replace the fellowship. They're both really, really important. The fellowship is something that you can access every single day, basically morning, night. There's always a meeting there.
Yeah.
Therapy is something that it will help you learn some skills, process difficult feelings, get better, improve your emotional balance. But the fellowship is really important as well.
Definitely. And what advice would you give to people that are seeking help? They're thinking about coming into treatment or reaching out for support. What would you say to them?
What I want to say is that I know that they're scared. I know that you are scared and you don't know where to start. There is help out there and there is a lot of hope. I have seen so many people recovering, pulling themselves out from the impossible and get better. You just need to do the first step. You don't need to do everything today. There is hope.
Yeah. Do you think it's important as well, for people to kind of go at their own pace and figure things out, try not to overwhelm themselves so much?
Yeah, and I think that this is what the 12th step is about. There is a reason that the step 1 is before the step 9, for example, make an amend. So first, build a solid recovery. It means that you have an addiction, and then work with yourself and get the right help. So, this is why we keep saying is one day at a time. You don't have to, make amends today. You're not even ready to do that. Just take it slowly, one day at a time. Don't rush.
Yeah, that's what we say to the guys, on the phone. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
And it takes time, doesn't it? It takes time to, for people to figure out, who they are as well, because they're learning about who they are as a person without suppressing, their emotions and different things. They're figuring out a lot. So, do you think it's important as well, Dimitra, for people not to compare themselves to others as well?
Yeah, and we do hear that a lot in treatment, especially when a client presenting their life story. Oh, my life wasn't as bad as yours, or I didn't have that trauma. It doesn't matter. Obviously, there was a reason, or you have an addictive personality, or something happened that was difficult for you. So comparison is something that never help.
Yeah, I think, I think that's really true, because sometimes, people can, think that, oh, I'm not as bad as them, or vice versa, and it's confusing. Also, it's I think belittling yourself as well, isn't it? It's kind of saying, oh, well, I'm not as bad as them. I don't really deserve that. I don't really deserve the support, but that's not really healthy, is it? A way of...
No, they can minimize as well their addiction, or they can think that, because I'm not using heroin or drugs, my addiction is not so severe, but it is. People do die from alcohol. People do die from anorexia, from bulimia. And, there is that, I think that it's more about the stigma, the social stigma that, drugs are bad for you. But alcohol, eating disorders are quite deadly as well.
Especially like foods everywhere and alcohol is everywhere. It's unavoidable, isn't it, really?
It is unavoidable. It's quite sad, really, because it is really difficult for people in early recovery to protect themselves. Even going in the grocery shop, you will see, as you're going in, the alcohol or the cookies and the sweets that they're on offer. But it's more about, building a recovery capital, that a life that you don't need to escape from. Have friends to support you, have a therapist, go to meetings. It's getting easier day by day.
Yeah, it's, I say as well to people, it's like a muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it gets.
Yeah.
So just keep going, guys, don't give up. Even if you have a bit of a slip up, I think it's important. Do you agree, Dimitra, for people not to focus on, if they have had a relapse, try not to beat yourself up for too long about it, and, focus more on, would you agree, getting back on track, your next step in your recovery?
Yeah, I think that is really important to get back on track as soon as you can. Forgive yourself, use it as a learning experience. At the same time, don't procrastinate. Get help as soon as you can. Go in a meeting straight away, pick up the phone straight away. And it can be a learning experience. You can use it as an example what went wrong and what I need to be more mindful of.
Yeah, and grow from it and become wiser and stronger,
Yeah.
Dimitra, thank you so much, for your time today. To sum it up, what would your kind of last words be to anyone listening?
It has been really important for me the last few years to learn more about how eating disorders do affect men as well. I think that society has neglected them a little bit. There is a lot of information, a lot of reading about women that suffer from eating disorders, but there are men there that are quite scared and they need help. So, I would love to focus more on that as well. And there is always hope. Hope is a really important word. I heard in an open meeting that I'm attending recently, there's an acronym of HOPE, hearing other people's experiences. And it's really important because by hearing other people's experience, you can get better. You can learn so much.
Yeah, definitely. It's really important. And, like Dimitra said, just stay connected, guys, reach out for as much support as you can, and anytime, pick up the phone, give us a call. Okay, we're here behind you as well. And just want to say a huge thank you, Dimitra, for your talk today, and thank you as well for all your contributions and support with the alumni. You're really active in the community, so thank you.
Thank you. I do enjoy that, so thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys. You've been listening to Screaming on the Inside, a UCAT podcast. Thanks again for joining us, and a huge thank you to Dimitra for sharing important information and advice, and also for her ongoing support within the alumni community. As always, you can find further support links and information below and on the UCAT website. Go to www.ukat.co.uk. Thanks, guys. Take care.